back to the Max Effort Kitchen podcast. We got a great segment for you. It's called The Athlete and the Chef. So sit back, relax, and let's go. Well, how's that for a mid intro playing the wrong intro? This is not this is not The Athlete and the Chef. This is me, myself, and Joe Beck. We are. I thought, I contacted Joe after the WSO, and I was like, hey, let's do a recap show, and you're all about it. So that's kind of what we're doing here. We're just going to do a little recap show about the in my opinion, the massively successful event that happened last weekend. It was 2 days of just some solid lifting across the board. It was 2 days of just listen. I'm super biased, but in my opinion, I think I don't know if there's a WSO out there that does it better. 2 platforms. I mean, live stream. You got a great venue. The platforms, the equipment, outstanding. Always room for improvement. But let's talk about it, Joe. What in your I guess overall opinion, what do you think?
Well, I mean, yes, dude, I agree with everything you said. I was proud of last year. I was proud of the first year, but this year, and I might have said this again. Might have said this last year too. But that weekend. I mean, I'm 54 years old in a couple of weeks. Top 5 weekends of my life. I mean, yeah, literally, certainly professional, top 2 or 3.
Nice.
Last year's Sester winning the senior nationals,
right?
Going to Pan Am's, that can kind of be combined into one event. Well, I guess it's, what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that was great. That was a highlight of my career. Last year was great, but this year just really, it was so great. Bringing in Devin to be a partner in this event was just so great for us in terms of how much he took off my plate, how much more I could focus on, dialing in the setup on Friday night and not having to run back and forth across the town, driving a U-Haul, crashing it into somebody's gate and having to pay for it at the end of the meet. Devin having a lot more equipment for us, the warm-up room platforms, he brought it, and he's a big, huge reason this meet was so much more successul. I'm really happy that when people are tagging us on their Instagram stories that he's getting the credit he deserves. Because
absolutely.
If it came out that he didn't. So I just huge shout out to Devin and the whole Ironside crew. Patrick really deserves some credit too, because it's mostly probably Patrick was the one who initially laid out for that equipment and was generous enough to let us use it.
Yeah.
Last year I bought half that pipe and I owned half that pipe and drape, and then I bought some new stuff and I was gonna send it back, but Patrick ended up buying that from me for basically what I paid for it and then loaned it out to us for free.
Heck yeah.
The equipment came from Devin and Ironside, so those guys definitely get a lot of credit and a lot of thanks and gratitude from me for helping make that event as good as it was.
Yeah, I agree, dude. And I did give him tons of shouts out on the live stream and made sure everybody knew that this was a Ironside and Heroic barbell to simultaneously together. Now, I know Devin did a ton, and I wish we could have. If I was thinking straight, we would have had him on the show. I think that would have been great. But we can do that in the future. There a very small, minor detail of what Devin did amongst all the stuff he did. The music.
Oh yeah.
When he turned on the music, it set. I mean, I was kind of joking around about it on the live stream. The Vibe Manager just showed up. It was a total thing. And I think that lifters liked it. I think the audience liked it. I liked it through the live stream. I think it was helping a lot. And just, but having a perspective like his to just pick that up and be like, we're going to turn on some music and just do it. Like that's huge.
And I was conflicted at first whether or not we should do it. And I was like, I don't know. I don't really need it. And like, we do probably got, we can go through some of the reviews that I have on here, but yeah, at least 2 or 3 people commented that the music made it better.
Yeah.
So that's something we'll carry forward in the future. I'm a dude, like I like music. I was in bands, or I wasn't in bands, but around bands.
You've been around
youth, and it was a big part of my younger life. And I still like music, but it's not the focus of my life anymore. And when I train personally in the garage, I don't put on anything unless maybe I'm trying to psych myself up for a heavy set of squats. But I just train to quiet. And if I'm in a gym with a team and we don't have access to music, I'm perfectly happy for them to listen quiet. They're not. So it's just not something I think about. We didn't have it last year. We didn't have it the first year that I ran, but it certainly was a thing. I made him put on metal during the 110B session, so that was good.
I noticed that, there was some custom things coming on, and that's listen. I was talking with Scott a little bit, and we can kind of talk about who Scott was, but like he was telling me that like he's got a whole setup of like walkout songs, and he's like, you got to be careful because everybody wants their own custom walkout song. And then he's like, then you got 200 songs you're trying to flip through and play. And he's like, he built, Scott, he built a system for it to make it work. But you just put some music on in the background. And I think it helped just lighten things up a little bit. And that's all. And because it is, and not to say that without the music, it was all tense or anything, because it wasn't. But it just kind of like it got people moving around, and it just, they brought the energy a little bit more.
What do the kids call it these days? The vibe?
The vibe. That's what I was saying. The vibe manager showed up, like, and it was cool though. From start to finish, it's like, I don't know if people quite understand what it takes. I would say I was at the one at PSU. Obviously I was out last year's and this year's, so I've seen all like kind of 3 iterations of it. And I've always felt, and please no offense to this, but I've always felt that a good indication of how well it's going is your stress level. If you're running around dropping F-bombs and like, getting on people and like telling them what to, like, you can tell that there's something going down. You didn't have that this year. No. And there was a relaxed feeling about what you were like, just walking around, you were checking on people. Like you had a couple things, but it was really neat. And I think that's a good indication of like what you're doing is not only high level, but you're kind of getting used to that high level and delegating.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Which is huge.
I'd say aside from Devin kind of being in charge of load in, and knowing that load out was going to be covered and we were going to be okay for load out, I feel like last year, particularly on Sunday, all I could think about was 2022 when it was Scott Fabian, and the PSU guy, the PSU head strength coach, Scott, Danny from Onyx, Jesse Johnson, and me were the last 4 people there finishing out load out, and it was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah.
And we had to move it really far through the hallways of the PSU thing, and I remember how horrible it was. Last year, I was thinking it was going to be the same thing, and it turned out to be pretty great last year. I think last bar dropped, and we were out of there in about 2.5 hours, and another hour or so of like putting stuff in gyms and putting stuff in my garage. The last bar dropped at, maybe it was only, and I was sitting on my bed at 11, and I was like, oh my God, that's the greatest. This year, the last bar dropped at 6. I was closing out the venue at 7:15. The venue was basically empty. We were loading it, the last little pieces into my car and one of my lifter's vans. So one car load, one van load going to my house. All the weights, all the platforms, all the pipe and drape, all the other equipment went with Devin to 2 different locations. Shout out to Alex Olson, who sent the football team again. Those boys came in force and just, I mean,
dude, those guys are great.
Power loaded out. Each platform had a 140 kilo set. The men's side had a bunch of, 40s, and then 50 other ones, so 190 kilo set. I'd say almost most of the ones on the men's side had 190 kilos, 15 bars, 10 warm-up platforms, 2 competition platforms, all torn down, and pipe and drape all torn down and out of there, TVs out of there in an hour and a half. That was amazing. So knowing and having confidence that was going to happen helped relieve a lot of stress. We brought up Scott Gonzalez, bringing him out to run the new OLCMS system that was Jacques. I can't remember his first name, but it was a French-Canadian guy who originally developed that system. Scott came in and wrote some of because it's open source, kind of helped develop it a little bit, and then developed the software. I guess the software for the hardware that goes with it, the down signal and the lights buttons.
Yep.
Wrote that software and did the development for the actual hardware that goes into that. So bringing him out to basically so the old system was called LESS system, or the LESS system from Les Singleton Computer Technology, who was running what we ran last year, what we ran the first year, was what USA Weightlifting ran for many years. That system's great. I think it kind of, on not a UI, but from a looks perspective, looks a little cleaner, looks a little nicer. The colors, I like the green and the black in that one. Looks a little nicer, but it is a bear to run. It's like a Excel-based thing. It's the setup of the start list is really hard, really manually intensive data entry. With the OLCMS system, Scott wrote a program so that you can take the USAW file, drag it into Scott's converter, and it converts it and puts it into the OLCMS system, so that when we ran the results at the end of it, one person, I forgot to put their member number in, and one person had a typo of just an extra 7 in their thing, so it was an extra digit. Those were the only 2 mistakes in it, and everything else uploaded instantly and fine. Last year, I put literally 80 hours of data entry into it. This year, I put 2-ish, and then the changes that came in were easy to do. They were always, instead of doing them in 2 different places, I just did them into the score in the OLCMS system. And then having Scott there to, the weigh-ins were done. Here, Scott, input the weigh-ins. The only time I cursed and got upset and Devin had to say, Joe, was the first weigh-in I was typing in, and his computer had a decimal point, or an enter key where the decimal point should have been on the number pad. Hitting enter, and it would go to the next one, and I was like, fuck. I kept saying 2 or 3 times, and Devin told me, Joe, stop. Oh, look at Kitty back there. Joe, stop. And that was it. That was probably the only time I got flustered and upset throughout the whole day, or the whole weekend. Even shout out to all the TOs and the volunteers. There was only one person who didn't show up for their shift, and they were just late, and they came for the next one.
Yeah.
Everybody was there. No one. I didn't have to scramble to find people.
Yeah, I noticed that. It wasn't like a plea to get people out there, because and everybody knew where they were sitting. Everybody knew where they were at. I was talking to I was up there in the middle of it all, and I'm talking to them. They're all in good spirits and having fun, and judging people, and I think overall, I just think there was some really good lifting. The age gap of lifting, is, I don't know how young they were, but they were kids all the way up to, I think, 70-year-old people.
We had a bunch of U13s,
Okay.
and I think the oldest was probably either Bob Howard or my guy, Bill McLaughlin.
Bill, yeah.
And Carlos Padilla was there. Those guys are all in their upper 60s and maybe a 70-year-old. From under 11 to mid to high 60s, I would say, is the thing that we had for sure.
And that's kind of cool. Like to be able to, put, I know that all these people are judges and they go through a little series to be a judge and all that.
Are you not a referee?
What's up? Yeah, I'm a referee. I did it by accident. I didn't know what I was doing. So, and I did it. But to be able to, have people in place and the amount of sessions we had, like I can speak very closely to this, where I get there, 7:00, I'm live by 8:00, and I'm shutting down the live by what? 8:00?
I think the first day we did 8 to 8, and the second day we did 8 to 6.
Yeah, that's a lot of sessions. And and so it's like to be able the coordination of that. I mean, I can only imagine, you got to really rely on people to show up and be there. But also, what I like that you do, and you did. I noticed this last year. I've never noticed this about meets before because I guess I haven't paid attention. But you bring in national level judges. I love that. I think that everybody should be doing that. I think that we should have that at local meets. And just really normalize that side of things because, like, you're gonna see different levels and different eyes on the lifters and when they're judging them and all that stuff. And being a referee is not an easy thing to do. And it's really easy to talk shit about them, but it's not an easy thing to do. And I noticed that. And just having a national level referee there makes all the difference, in my opinion. It really solidifies the made lift as a real made lift, and so it's not like, oh yeah, that's just a local WSO. No, we have national level people there.
So let's talk a little bit about that, because if I got any complaints, right, without making Devin feel worse about himself, the major complaint I got was that the projector on the we call it the ladies platform, but the right side platform was dim and it didn't, and people couldn't see it. I'll go through some of the feedback that we got, and a lot of people told us that, like, whoa, really? One platform you couldn't see the thing? Really? Thank you for that. We didn't notice. Like, that's what feedback's for, is things that the guys might not have noticed. But great. I'm glad you all noticed that thing that you didn't have last year was not good enough and up to your quality. Thank you.
Well, we did have some people come up to the table to be like, "Hey, can you turn up the light on that?" Like, we can't. Sorry.
So it is what it is. We live and learn. We had one good one. I bought a really good one when I got on the level 1 staff, because JP, the Nicoletta, the old head boss of the instructor education thing, was like, you might have to have a projector. He's like, go and buy a real one. He's like, don't buy one for projecting movies in the backyard. He's like, you have to buy a business grade projector. And I bought mine Epson on Amazon, or not on Amazon, but on Facebook Marketplace for $60.
Right.
When we realized that one wasn't working on Saturday, we started looking on Amazon, and maybe it's the tariffs, maybe it's not. But they were all in the $700 to $800 range, and then there was one in there for like $150, $200, and I was like, we could get this and we could take it back. And Devin's like, we don't know if it's going to work, so that's just kind of a pain for us to do that. So we didn't do it, and it is what it is. We did get really positive feedback that those were there, so it's an interesting that people loved it so much on the one platform where you could see it clearly, and like, as bad as it wasn't that bad. On the other one, you could see it. It was hard.
It got better the second day.
The feedback we got is that the projector was there, and we're well aware of that. So we'll fix it. The other feedback we got, and this one kind of annoys me more, is I got feedbacks such as the level of judging was too hard for this level of, what was it? Hold on, let me see. Let's see. Have more consistent judging, right? That one's going to be a complaint you get every time that judging's not consistent. Look, it's not consistent because it's not robots. It's 3 different people in the chairs at each session, and sometimes they're the same people. So you're going to get different things. That's why there's 3 of them, so that it's not just one person who's like, oh, that guy's really tough.
Yeah.
One of the refs judging was too strict for the level of the meet. Well, whoever wrote that, I got news for you. There is no difference in the TCRR. That's the weightlifting rule book for levels of meets.
Yeah.
When I first started judging, the woman who taught me, I was like, yeah, but you're nice. You're a little bit more lenient at local meets. And she said, no, Joe, there's one set of rules. And if you're nice at local meets, then when they go to national meets, they're going to be in for a rude awakening. Someone else told me, best to use local reps. Really, buddy. Thank you.
No.
And that's in your major experience running 2-person, 250, two-day, 2-platform meets.
Nah.
Because I tell you what, I brought in national refs because in 22 when we ran it, I brought in Jenny Shoemaker. She volunteered to come out. She's awesome. She was a center ref at Olivia's session at World. She's been in the business for a long, long time. And another friend of mine, Eric Winter, who's also a Cat 1 technical official, came out and refed for us. And I was like, man, that's really great. In 24 last year when we ran it, I put a little message on the USAW technical officials Facebook page, and Greg Sonovan came out. Greg's a Cat 1 TO. And Anne Marie came out. She was a speaker last year. She was a speaker this year. And I think that's the only ones that flew out last year. This year, those guys spoke so highly of it that this year we got Alex Bahan, Jim Helis, the most hated man in weightlifting right now, in PNW weightlifting right now. And we can talk about why. And we can talk about why it's wrong for people to hate him. Greg came out again. He brought his wife. They marshaled all weekend. Jill Lawton came out. She was like CompSec last year. She's a national level TO.
Yep.
And I think that's it for the national level TOs. And one piece of feedback I got is that maybe splitting them up and having them work on different platforms so that it wasn't one platform that had the harshest or the most critical judging. And it's not so much that they're harsh, but rather that when you're experienced at doing it, you see things that less experienced people don't see. And you may have a more, critical eye for it. But there's like I said, there's one set of rules. No one, and I say this to people all the time when it comes to refereeing, nobody goes to sit in that chair to press the red button. They just don't. We don't do that. That's not why you're a referee. You're a referee because the sport needs referees. It's what sets us apart from, powerlifting has referees too, and there's bad calls in powerlifting, and it just seems even sillier. But what makes our sport beautiful is that it has to be executed to a level of perfection that makes it good. And you can say that the press out rule is bad, and that's your opinion, man. You can have that opinion, but I don't think it is. I think it makes, and this is from a guy who made probably, I like to say I put 90% of my jerks overhead in my life, but probably got credit for 60% or less of them. I bombed out on the world stage at my last meet. I bombed out on the national stage at probably my last in-person national meet. I bombed out on an online national meet, and I bombed out at local meets. And it's all because I'm not a good jerker. Now, most of my jerks are more egregious than some of the things that got called. And people will say that the difference between a shoulder and an elbow is, obvious, but I'm telling you it's not. And I'm telling you the way I was explained to do it is you take your ears and you project out Mickey Mouse ears, and you're going to be looking at their elbows. And that's what you're looking at as the lifter is settling into their snatch and finishing their jerk, is they're looking at their elbows from out here. So the referees are laser focused on that. So that's what they're looking at. And if you don't sit in the chairs, I told one of my best friends in the sport this, I said, if you're not going to sit in the chairs and do refereeing, then shut your fucking mouth. Sorry,
I mean,
sorry, you're going to get demonetized for that, but figure out more F-bombs.
Yeah, no, here's the thing is there's a human element to judging, but I liked what you said just there about the fact that like these people do it and they do it at a high level and they've done it for a very long time. So you take, and a good analogy is like if you were to take, like give me a steak to cook and you go and give a Michelin star chef a steak to cook. You're going to put those steaks together and that chef is going to probably pick my shit apart. And, you know, I'm gonna look at his and be like, oh man, that thing is awesome looking. You know, like there's levels to which people do things. And when you bring in a national level referee, they are going to see things that maybe the volunteer doesn't, right? I mean, they're all volunteers, but you know what I mean? Like maybe the lifter who is volunteering to be out there.
That many lifts. And when you become a national TO, you're judged by a literal jury of your peers who, and you're held to a high standard.
Yeah.
National rep is 80%. Cat 2 is, I want to say 90%. And Cat 1, which I just tested for and failed one time, is 95% in accordance with the jury.
Yeah.
You could say that American juries and American referees are stricter by and large than other countries, but when I was trained in it, I was trained by John Thrush. Back in the day when I became a referee, you had to go to an in-person referee session, a referee clinic, and be taught by them. And Thrush said, tie goes to the runner, like in baseball. Like if two people get there and there's a tie, then the runner gets it.
Yep.
I went to my first national meet. I said, is this the case? Somebody said, who taught you that? And I said, John Thrush, whose like name rings out. And they're like, nope, that's wrong. It's not. It's like, you know a bad lift and you call it. Also, you press the button as soon as you see the infraction.
Yeah.
Some people didn't seem to know that. When you're sitting in the referee chair, as soon as you see they settle into their snatch and their elbow goes, you press the red button. When two people press the red button, the down signal comes.
Yep.
When the lifter stands up with their arms locked and nothing, and they become motionless, you press the white button. As soon as two people press the white button, the down signal comes. That's how it works.
Yeah.
If there's a split decision, the down signal doesn't come until two people press the same button. So sometimes there's a little issue with one of my lifters where the down signal didn't come and that lifter dropped it early. They knew they were wrong, but it was not that lifter's fault.
Yeah,
TOs changed their lift from good to bad because the lifter had dropped the bar before the down signal. So a lot of people were mad at Jim, and like, I'm just going to defend the guy because he flew out on his own dime, worked all weekend, what did I do? 8 shifts, 6 or 8, 10, 12, 2, 4, 6 shifts, 12 hours that day. I think I gave him one shift off. So 8 hours, 8 hours one day and 6 hours the next. He did it for no pay, just a hotel room. And, you know, like I said, the guy's kind of a contrarian sometimes, likes to argue, likes to be right, but like he volunteered his time. He's showing you what it's going to be like when you go to a national meet. Some people aren't going to go to national meets. And when I say when you go to a national meet, I just mean that you're going to come across more referees who are refereeing at that level. There's still plenty of local referees at that level, but there are then Category 2 ITOs and Category 1 ITOs, International Technical Officials. So you're going to be judged to a high standard. This is what I was going to say. If you want to be judged to a low standard, then go to a fucking mock meet. But if you're going to come to one of my meets, you're going to be judged to the TCRR. You're going to be judged to the standards of weightlifting, not local weightlifting. One word.
Yeah. And not ollie lifting. You know, here's the thing, and I think we can wrap it up with or at least with the technical, the referee thing is that I personally enjoy the human element to it. I like to have humans in those chairs. I also, in my gut, I feel that maybe 10 years down the road, it'll be an AI camera robot that's going to be doing that. And that makes me sad. So let's stop talking shit about the people and go out there and make lifts. Because really, you make your lift, you take that element out of it.
Yeah.
Bottom line, that's it, black and white.
Jill said, Jill and Jim both said, when I'm sitting in that chair, and the referee and the athlete comes out, my first thought is, don't give me a reason to press the red button. Both of them said the same thing. Alex Bahard, who was mostly the speaker on the men's platform most of the weekend, said, she has a phrase that says, stay mad or get better.
Yeah.
Stay mad or get better.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have cards printed up so that when you come and complain, we can just have a little card in our pocket. We can just hand it to you, and that's your answer to why you got a red light.
Yeah. See, Sandra's right here saying the same thing. Sandra also competed at the WSO, and I got the chance to actually say hi to her. She said, "Hit your lifts, and you have nothing to worry about." That's exactly what we're saying, right? So it's like, it's just make the lifts, and you'll learn when you get red lighted or you get a no lift because of an elbow thing or a shoulder thing or whatever thing, dropping it too early. You learn, and that's what a good lifter does. Like, I can't do this next time. So, yeah, all right, coach. So we got to fix this. So. It's not the end of the world. I don't know if there'll ever be a meet where somebody doesn't say something negative about the referees. So,
I mean, world is going on right now, and people are complaining there. And again, if you're not sitting in the chair, I say it a lot in my level ones and to my athletes and to anybody who will listen to me. Really, if you're involved in the sport as anything other than just an athlete, being in that chair is going to make you better at it. If your job is to be a coach, sitting in the chair and watching rep after rep after rep from an angle that you don't really coach from or watch from is going to sharpen your coach's eye. Sitting in the speaker's chair, watching from the side, watching rep after rep after rep is going to sharpen your coach's eye. It's also going to give you the opportunity to see and hear what high-level coaches say to their athletes as they're going out there, how they connect with their athletes, what they say, what the cues. I've tons of good cues from sitting in the speaker's chair and hearing that. And then my favorite job is being in the back room as the marshal, and that's where you learn how to burn clocks. That's where you learn how to play strategy. That's where you learn how to manipulate the board and use your changes the right way. You're not going to learn that stuff if you're not watching elite and top level coaches do it. So it's gonna you're gonna see how people warm each other up. I'll never forget when I tested for national ref, watching Justin Devereaux, who's one of my good friends. He's an Oregon lifter. Had missed a lift, and Leo Totten, his coach from East Coast Gold, I could hear what he said, like hearing how a coach takes and refocuses a lifter after a miss and what he says to them or what they say to that lifter to get them to refocus and to go out and make that next lift, whether it's a technical correction or just a mindset thing. You're getting that experience being in those chairs, doing that job. And again, it's a volunteer position that's necessary for our sport to continue to operate. And if you look, when you go to national meets, or if you get lucky enough to be on the international stage, most of those guys are older than me. And I'm old. I'm 54 in a couple weeks. And most of those guys are in their 60s, some in their 70s. So they've been doing this for a long time. And you can't do it forever. So
Eric Dahl. What's up, Eric? It says the only issue is if the jury is involved with the rules on the 3-wheeler. Like, I saw a little bit of this at Worlds, but
Devin says, and I was talking to someone else about this today. If the jury gets involved in a lift, I think at Worlds, it's 5 people, and they have to be unanimous. Certainly at national meets, it's 3 people, and they have to be unanimous. And if those 3 overrule the referees, then that's the case. Certainly at a national meet, you're going to have maybe 1 ITO, 1 national, and 1 local, or maybe 2 nationals and an ITO, or maybe even 2 locals and a national. And the jury is all Cat 1s. That means I'm a Cat 1. It took me about 10 years to get there. And they're just better at it. I mean, better at it. They're just more experienced and more, and I actually saw one time, I think it was the speaker in Colorado Springs this year, and there was a jury stop. The jury called the referees over. The jury was all red, and it was 2-1 white, and I can't remember the exact details, but the jury called the referees over, said, "What did you see?" And I think the jury was white and the referees were red. They called the referees over and said, "What did you see?" And they both said the same thing. So the jury was like, "Then never mind, you guys are right." So the jury listened. There's a discussion between the referees, and they can ask them what they saw. And if the jury believes them, then the jury won't get involved, and they'll let the referee's decision stand. Other times, the jury will bring the referees over and they'll say, "What did you see?" And you're like, "I saw nothing." And they're like, "Well, it was an egregious press out, so pay attention." So you either get chided. I guess that we wouldn't get yelled at necessarily, but you'll get chided. And if you're not, and then one of the questions on the referee exam is if you're not doing a good enough job, the jury will pull you and you're done doing it. So we have a high standard for it, and it's there for a reason. Again, it's what sets our sport apart, what makes our sport beautiful.
I couldn't agree more. I don't want to get into the press out rule much. Cornell and I are gonna really battle that one out tomorrow. But the at the end of the day, and it's what everybody else is saying on the chat board here, just make your damn lift, and then if you don't learn from it and be better next time. There was a lot of positivity going on. I heard, I like what you said about listening to coaches and being engulfing yourself into the sport to be better at the sport is such a dude. I mean, that aligns with me so well. And something I'm a very visual learner, and I sat there and watched. I'm just going to say, 24 hours straight of weightlifting of all levels. I had one of the best technical weeks I've ever had. And yeah, it was a back off week, but still I picked things up visually. And I remember there was a couple cues that I picked up on my own. I was like, okay, I'm going to try that when I'm on, lifting next week. And sure as shit, it feels good, or it works for a second. And you just kind of, you learn that way. Not everybody's a visual learner, but for me, for instance, Eric Dahl, him and I used to we used to lift together 3-4 days a week. And honestly, it was some of my best lifting because him and I would feed off each other, and I would watch him and he would watch me. He was a better snatcher. I was a better clean and jerker. And so we would just battle it out. And there's just something about being around the sport. Be a referee, be in the back room, help coach, just go load somebody's bar for them. That's going to help you out right there to learn how to warm up. It's such a huge thing. And we have, Joe has local events all year round. Yeah. So you want to learn, get a hold of him.
Yeah. Let's see. What did I say? What else did we get? I got complaints about one of the complaints. Some loaders didn't know the rules or how to load them. Great.
Hey,
okay.
Again,
That is the case. That happens at national meets where the loaders do it. Somebody said the loaders make or break the meet. I would disagree with that wholeheartedly. Yes, the loaders are responsible for the flow to one degree of the speed of the flow of the meet. But again, if you aren't if that person wasn't on the loading list, then I don't give a shit what they say. Get in the chair and be a part of it then, and go help them.
Yeah.
We did the best we could with the staff that shows up, and I can't afford to pay everybody for this event. So it does run on volunteers and does run with people that have done it for the first time. I think there was one small mistake where we forgot to take the 5 kilo bar off the competition platform on the women's side. So the U11 girl used a 5 kilo bar.
Okay.
So 3 or 4 of the first lifters in the U13 category used a 5 kilo bar instead of a 15. So we realized a mistake. We asked the coaches if they wanted to take it again. And again, like, that's a mistake. Mistakes happen. But you would think that someone would notice they're lifting 10 kilos. If you're only lifting 30 kilos, you would think you notice you're lifting 20 instead of 30. Now, yes, the platform tends to, like, you're getting excited and you do a little better. But so I'm not really worried about those kind of mistakes.
Well, Joe, overall, like we're about at time. So here, overall, I kind of want to get your overall consensus about how you feel. Like I'm only assuming, but honestly, I think you're going to probably bid for it next year. But like overall, what's your thought here? Kind of a closing thought.
Like I texted one of my good friends in New York State who just had run the New York WSO. That I'm born to do this. Like, this is where I'm meant to be. Like, running meets like this makes me so happy. I wish there was a way to run bigger ones than we've done. I think next year, if I do it again, we're going to try to increase the initial intake to about 300 people. Nice. We want to beat Travis Cooper, who's been running the New England WSO. He had like 270 this year. Okay. But by the time we winnow down the amount of people that drop between whatever, and that at the end of the thing, there's after registration closed, and I wasn't putting any new lifters in, we probably had maybe 10 more drops. So I ended up with probably 236 lifters competing that weekend. So I think we could open it up for to be a little bigger, to have more people that are getting in on the initial thing. I want to try to do it in Tacoma next year or in Washington. So I've got to find a new partner up there. If I can't, then the Holiday Inn now loves me.
Yeah, I know, right? I bet you they do.
I think we've dialed it in more. I think the only complaint on the video feed, here's one for you, is if you could get two separate channels.
Yep.
Do an extra one. That was the one actionable thing. The other thing was that the speed quality. Oh, did I tell you that the hotel lady was really super happy? Said you were the nicest dude she's ever worked. Not the nicest dude she's ever worked with. Hello, Matt. Thank you so much. He was so sweet and so patient.
Yeah, I mean, some of that quality issue was because there was a solid 6 hours where I was pulling internet from. I had it connected to my hotspot on my phone. So that's probably why you're seeing that. But yeah, I talked to Scott about being able to build 2 separate channels for each platform, because that is the one thing about it that makes it kind of hard, which is, you got 2 platforms going at the same time. And so they're smaller windows, and maybe sometimes you don't get to see them. And I'm pretty good about flipping. Like when one platform ended, I'd flip it up so it's full screen on the other platform, and then it would like go back and forth, and I could do that, but like, it's 2 platforms on one TV screen, so it's a little distracting. But Scott and I have already talked about how to do that. He's got me set up with some programs that I'm going to check out, and next year I plan on having 2 different channels, one for the blue platform, one for the red platform, or whatever, however you want to name them. And that
we're always working to make these improvements. I think that's one of the things that I like take, is that we made this one better. My favorite thing that I brought this year was the camera for the back room, which was only an $80 video camera that streams directly to the TV. Those will be a part of any heroic Cully strength meets going forward.
Yep.
As will the projecting the scoreboard with the no lift, bad lift animation. Somebody else complained that the no lift animation was too hype.
All right.
So
Tell them.
I don't have any control over that.
Too
Starting
hype.
to feel like the no lift is too mean.
Oh boy, I loved it. I thought it was really cool. I just it really solidified like this is a bigger meet, and
Yeah.
it'll only get better from here.
I mean, Devin and I are over the moon. I'm just as proud as one could be.
Yeah.
I'm proud that we got the results uploaded in 24 hours, essentially. I'm pretty sure it was within 24 hours. My Facebook memories are showing last year's, where today I was like still small hiccup with results because last year, like I said, I had to do the data entry for 250 people, and there was probably 30 different mistakes of like member number, birthday, things that I had to go through and call and correct. This year, not any two, and they were easy to fix, and that's it. We just fixed it all. So yeah, come next year, we hope to make it better. Hopefully, I can do it. At some point, I want to start running my own like high level meet. Danny Camargo runs one called the Pirellium, and I would like to start maybe with a 1 day, one platform meet over there at the Holiday Inn. And,
I like it.
And yeah, we'll start to get better and better at it.
Only good things to come. I've already said it to you many times. I'll say it one more time. I appreciate your willingness to let me be involved in this. And I want to make it very clear because there were some people giving me props online. All I did was live stream it. That's about it. But I can't tell you how meaningful it is for me to just be a part of it. I don't give a shit about the pay. I don't give a shit about whatever it takes. There's one person I should thank outside of you, which is my lovely wife. She takes on the kid. I mean, she doesn't see or talk to me for 3 days straight, basically. Yeah. But and I do appreciate that about her, and she kicks some ass. So, but Joe, no, seriously, like I can't even tell you how elated I am when I walk away from this event. I'm just like, that really just happened. So.
Super.
And I don't think I'm the only one that thinks that. I would beg to say I'm not. So great job, dude. Awesome show. And got any last words?
No, that's it. Just come on down. We're going to run a meet at Cully Strength on December 27th. Hoping to continue to bring that same high quality national level meet experience to the local stage.
Yep.
Comp platform, 8 warm-up platforms, camera showing the competition platform in the back, scoreboard, and we're going to try to up the quality of our medals there this year, or at these meets going forward.
Heck yeah.
Continuing to give out high-quality awards. Still probably don't have enough to do. I think when you get to local meets like that, we wanted to have every weight class and age group gets an award like national meets.
Yeah.
When you do a local meet like that, you don't have enough. Otherwise, it turns into a participation trophy, and that's not fun. So we'll do it by either Key Points or Sinclair again.
Sweet.
And, yeah, we're almost halfway sold out-ish already, and we got 2 months to go. So that one, if you want to go to that one, get signed up.
Get signed up now.
Heroic's bio and yeah.
Heck yeah. All right, Joe. Thanks so much.
These are so fun. I'm down to do them anytime.
All right. Well, we'll get you on more. Trust me. Yeah. I got a microphone for you. So that's cool. Dude, we'll do this more. Joe, thanks for being on. Everybody, thanks for listening. Chat board. Thank you. And we'll talk to y'all later.
Thanks,
Adios.